What's up, guys? It's solo vlog day. Matt was unfortunate or got unlucky and had to work today. His job has is really short staffed right now, so we couldn't vlog. But guess who has no plans and no friends? This guy. So what he's gonna do on a Friday night? Play some poker. And we just stopped by the liquor store, got us some whiskey. We're gonna be wilding out tonight, especially after a long day at work. Hopefully we just get lucky and it doesn't matter, even if we are a fish and we just win all the monies. But yeah, I will see you guys in the vlog or on the felt or whatever our catchphrase is supposed to be. But yeah, see you there. So while we're waiting for 1-2 table, we end up sitting at the 1-3 table. A little bit about this. It basically a 2-5. I treat it as a 2-5 game. Max buy-in, the table opens up is $500, and you can match the big stack up to $1,000. Table is relatively new, and I sit down with $700. First hand we play is going to be a limp. The under the gun +1 is going to raise it to $20. And we're going to look down at pocket sixes and the hijack. We make the call, and the button is going to make it to 80. The under the gun calls, and we end up calling, hoping to hit a set on the flop. We go three ways, which is going to come queen 3 deuce rainbow. We're going to check it over to the button, and he's going to bet $80. The under the gun +1 is going to fold, and on this board I'm going to have a clear call. This guy is going to be 3-betting a very linear range on the button. So he's going to have a lot of air here. He's going to have a couple queens, and then obviously aces, kings, jacks, queens, all those good hands. But he'll also have a lot of air. So we end up making the call. The turn is the king of clubs, bringing it back to a flush draw. I check it over to him, and he bets pot for about $450, or he bets a round pot for $450. And this is not an ideal spot. This particular player, again, has a very linear range on the button. So he's going to be doing this with like ace jack, jack 10, ace 10, ace deuce, ace 3, ace 4, ace 5 of clubs. And then for value, he's going to have queens, kings, king, queen, maybe aces here. But for the most part, he's going to be very polarized in the spot. And basically committing my whole stack, I have about $550 back, and reluctantly we end up folding against this guy, and he tables the 8-9 of clubs, so he gets one through to us, but he still had a lot of equity, so I don't mind folding here. For this next hand, I'm going to look down at 8-9 diamonds and raise under the gun to $15. We're going to get a call from the hijack and the small blind, and big blind's going to fold. So 3 ways to a flop of jack 10-8 with the jack 10 of spades. The small blind is going to lead on this flop. I had full intentions of calling. However, I saw the hijack have calling chips in his hand, as I was thinking. And that incentivized me to raise. I feel like, again, when he's just going to call, his range is capped there. And I can almost guarantee me getting at least one fold from the hijack. So I go ahead and put in the raise to $55. The hijack thought about it for a little bit, and then he folded. Makes me think he might have had a flush draw there. And then the small blind eventually is going to call. The turn is going to be the king of hearts, bringing a backdoor flush draw. He checks it over to me. I'm going to bet 120. And while he's deliberating, he's talking about, like, what do you do this with? He says, if you do this, you're probably doing this with jack 10. If you have a set, that sucks. But if you have 2 pair, I'm ahead. And then makes the call. I wish I'd paid more attention to him talking about this. Because on the river, we're going to hit our straight with the queen of diamonds. However, it makes 4 to a straight. And I have the bottom end of it. If I thought more about what he was saying, I would have bet this river, but not thinking enough about it, I ended up checking and showing my straight, and we scoop a pretty good pot. Though I definitely do feel like I missed out on some value versus his really good 2 pair or maybe his bottom set. So I definitely should have bet that river. We missed out on some value. However, it's still a sizable pot. Immediately after that hand, the guy that we played in the last hand is on the button now, and it's his dealer's choice game, and he calls Congress, which is going to be 5 card high low, and you must play 2 cards from your hand. So we look down at the deuce 6 6 8 10 with the 10 6 of diamonds. Not a great hand, but definitely a playable hand in these no limit games with the one dealer's choice game around. And so the cutoff is going to raise to $10. The button is going to call. Small blind calls. I complete. We go 4 ways to a flop of king 7 5 with 2 diamonds. So we flop a open ender, 10 high flush draw, and a pretty mediocre low. It checks over to the button, and he's going to bet $40. Small blind is going to fold. I'm going to end up making the call, and the cutoff is going to fold. So we go heads up to a turn. That is the 4 of diamonds. And on this card, he decides to pot it for a full 120. Now, normally this would be a pretty easy fold in these kind of games, because normally people are potting it with only either nut lows or nut flushes. So for the most part, people here don't bluff. However, this is just this guy was pretty tilted from the last hand, and because of that reason, I end up making the call. I have decent showdown value on both ends, so I feel like I'm likely to get at least half the pot, whether it be for the flush or the workable low. The river is going to be the ace of hearts, which is a great river for me. Makes my low much better, counterfeits all of his ace x lows. I check over to him, he checks, I turn over my hand, and we scoop another decent pot against him. So we missed out on some value in the last hand, but we get it back on this hand. In this next hand, we're going to open queen jack off and the hijack. A little bit of a loose open, but not a terrible open. It's going to fold around to the big blind, and he's going to call. We're going to go heads up to a flop of queen queen deuce rainbow. He's going to check over to me. Pretty dry flop. I'm going to bet $8, as I want to bet a variety of hands here. A lot of ace highs, king highs here. So I bet pretty small, and he's going to call. We go heads up to a turn. That's going to be the 4 of diamonds. He checks over to me. After he calls the flop, I feel a little bit better about betting a little bit bigger. So I bet $25. He's going to raise to 65. Now this is a weird spot. Really the only value hand I really see him having is pocket deuces and pocket fours, and maybe king queen. I don't ever see him having ace queen here. I feel like he would 3-bet that pre-flop. So I feel like we're ahead of most of his range, and maybe he turned backdoor diamonds and he's raising that. So we end up making the call. River is a 7 of hearts, basically a brick. He bets 85 into us. After some deliberation, we end up calling. I mean, we have a pretty strong hand. It's kind of tough to fold here, but he ends up showing ace queen of spades, and yeah, he takes the pot. I mean, if he 3-bets pre-flop, we end up losing the minimum, but by flatting pre, he wins the max, so good for him. So after that hand, we finally moved to the 1-2 table, and after folding for what seems like 2 hours, we look down at a big O hand. We're going to look down at king jack 9 7 3 suited to the jack. Definitely a playable hand, nothing great, but there's going to be 2 limpers, and there's going to be raised to $20 pre-flop. I'm going to call on the button, and both blinds fold, 2 limpers call. So we go 4 ways to a flop. That's going to come out jack 10 8, 2 spades. So we flop second nut straight with a gutter ball to the second nut straight as well. It's going to be a check. One of the limpers is going to pot it for $90. The pre-flop raiser is going to call. I think we have a pretty easy call. We have a pretty good hand, but we can obviously be beat. I don't think I want to pot it here and just get called by better and fold out worse. So we end up making the call, and other limper folds. So we go through 3 ways to a turn. That is the ace of diamonds, bringing a backdoor flush draw. Not the greatest card for me, because now king queen gets there as well. So now we have the third nut straight. The first guy is going to go all in for $90, and then the second guy, after some deliberation, is going to go all in for about 300 effective. This sucks. I mean, I turned a jack high flush draw, but I don't know if that's any good. Just about the worst card in the deck, as looks like king queen gets there. Queen 9 was already there. This sucks. We ended up folding. I didn't get the rest of the hand, but they both show aces and eights with a flush draw. So the first guy had aces and eights with nut spades. The second guy who went all in had aces and eights with nut diamonds. So our diamond draw was dead, but we were way ahead. River was a brick. We would have held. I suck. End of story. Alright, after a bunch more folding and hold'em, we look down at another big O hand. This time we're looking at ace 8, 7, 5, 3, suited to the ace. So another reasonable hand. There is going to be a couple limps, a raise to $15. I'm going to be in the big blind and call, and so do 5 other people. So we go 6 ways to a flop. That's a pretty good one for us. 7, 6, 4 rainbow. So we flop the Nutter Butters. We check it. Checks over to the guy who potted in the last hand. He makes a 90. Folds to me. I just flat call. No reason to raise it here. I guess like to defend against like wraps and stuff, but I think wraps are calling anyways on a rainbow board. Only thing we're scared of really is a paired board, but even then, if they had a set, I think we hear from them regardless. So we flat, and everyone else folds. He has 5 behind, so we jam $5 blind on the turn, which is the 4 of hearts. So we turn nut hearts as well. And he has the 5-3 end of the straight. So we flop him dead. River is going to be the ace of clubs, a brick, and we scoop a nice big old pot. What's up, guys? Just got home from the session. We ended up booking a decent win. We won around 360 in the 1-3 and 120 in the 1-2. The 1-2 session was kind of boring. I only played like 3 or 4 hold'em hands, and only one I think went post flop. So all of the money we won was in that last big O hand. And yeah, pretty solid session. Always happy to book a win. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Follow our social media pages in the comments or in the description below to get updates on the vlogs. And yeah, solo vlog. I'm Sal. Thanks for watching, guys.